Hey everyone, it's me Gamerturk. Welcome to another weekly War of Underworld Q&A, where you ask the questions and I answer. As always, the weekly Q&A is an extension of my Sword Art Online Alicization Explained series, so if you stumbled upon my channel and are asking to yourself, why is this guy not answering obvious questions, like what happened between Shasta and Gabriel, you should go ahead and visit the specific episode explained, as I only answer questions that I have not already answered in the Q&A. Will you be spoiled if you watch this Q&A or any explained videos is probably a question on your mind. Episode explained videos do not feature any spoilers at all regarding the future, except for opening explained videos for obvious reasons. As for this Q&A, I got a handy question structure here where I start with non-spoiler questions, so in regards to this week's Q&A, if you watched War of Underworld Episode 4 Dark Territory, then this section is safe for you. The non-spoiler section features questions from everything prior to the current anime episode release, and the answers are factual, aka actually directly citable from the novels. Then we move on to the opinion section. Again, this section is also spoiler free, the only difference is the questions here either ask for my opinion or I have to make certain assumptions because the full information is not provided in the light novels. So while the answers have their basis in the source material, they are not explicitly explored, thus my answers here are merely analysis or logical deductions based on the source material. Final Q&A segment is the spoiler section where obviously questions regarding the future of the series will be answered. Don't worry, you will receive an extensive spoiler warning before this section begins so you can safely depart in order to remain spoiler free. Answers here can be factual, logical deductions or outright opinions, but I don't want to create more segments, so I'll make it clear what my answer is based on as well if needed. As always, you can find all the questions in the pinned comment or in the description, as well as links to Book Depository and Amazon if you want to get the books for yourselves and support the channel at the same time. So, with that out of the way, let's start with the questions. First question, is it certain that Eugeo was an artificial Fluctlight? If not, is it possible that Kirito will meet the person whom the Fluctlight was copied from someday in the real world? Simple question, yes, he is an artificial Fluctlight, same as everybody else. There's been a lot of rumors, not even rumors, outright baseless shoutouts, I wanna say, nothing more, that Eugeo was Kirito's copy or something. No, Eugeo is just an artificial Fluctlight, just like everyone else in the simulation. Next question, did Vecta freeze Lipia's head because her body will disappear after she died, like Eugeo and Cardinal? I actually received multiple questions of the same concept, so I have only picked one question, obviously, not to clutter your screen with different questions. So, first off, let's clarify Eugeo and Cardinal's scene. In Underworld, your body does not instantly disappear like in Sword Art Online or ALO, etc. It actually acts like, how to call it, I don't want to say exactly like real life because it isn't exactly like real life, but somewhat emulating it. For example, if a living creature dies, as in, for example, if Eugeo's HP is reduced to 0, his Fluctlight is deleted from the light cube cluster, but his body will remain, turning into a new object with a new durability rating in the form of an object of his body. And only after that body reaches 0 durability as well as an object, not as a human, will that body disappear. An easier example would be going out to hunt some deers, for example. You go out, hunt a deer, the deer's HP reduced to 0, the deer dies, however the body remains as a food object or something that can be turned into food, for example. But if that food object loses its entire durability, well, only then the meat that comes from the deer will properly disappear. The same case is with Lipia. The answer to the question is yes, she did froze Lipia's head so it wouldn't disappear, but it's not like it would disappear instantly. He just wanted to preserve the head in that case as it was right at the death scene. How was Gabriel able to get away with apparently killing more than 100 people between when he killed Alicia and the ocean turtle Ray? So, if you're an anime only viewer, you probably don't know this. I don't know if you watched the explained or not, but let's get that cleared quickly. After killing Alicia, Gabe actually did hundreds of experiments on other humans or other creatures in general and was never caught, of course. But if you look at the first Alicia scene, at least in the light novels, he absolutely knew what he was doing despite making a rash decision there. He avoided every single camera that's in the entire garden complex. he specifically knew a place where he could hide the body, never to be found, etc. So in general, you can assume Gabe absolutely knows what the fuck he's doing. On top of this, he is a chief tactical officer in a very secretive military weapons manufacturer in the US. He definitely knows how to get around these things, how to make secret experiments on his own, etc, etc. You really shouldn't be questioning that. Next question. Before Kirito go to the Underworld, did Kikoka choose an account for him, or did Kirito choose his own account? If Kiku chose an account for him, which level was Kirito's account? I feel like this was already answered in the anime, since the intention was to block Kirito's memories and just put him into the simulation to heal, which didn't happen for other reasons, but that's not part of the question. He was put in with a regular pleb account, so level 1 everything, maybe not level 1, at most level 2 or 3. It was a new account, that's the key point. It was nowhere near accomplished, etc. It was a basic account when it was put in, so no, not any specific account. Next question. Going back, how can Dark Territory residents understand the Emperor's speech if the default language is Japanese? Or should we just treat any foreign person in SAO as having Japanese skills by default, or could it be processed with Fluctlight acceleration and language no longer draws power from your left cerebral? Okay, that last part, let's throw that bit out, because that's, well, I'm gonna say science fiction, but then I realized I was talking about a science fiction series. Either way, the last question is a definitive resounding no. The anime, of course, didn't have the chance to make this known, because they literally translated everything to Japanese, such as Gabe speaking with the NSA agents as well. The key point is Gabriel and Wasago as well are very much fluent in Japanese. That was one of the minor plot points, I would say, minor causes of shock in the squad, when Gabe speaks Japanese to them before diving in. So yeah, Gabe does make that speech in Japanese, in perfectly fluent Japanese, mind you. So yeah, they can understand the Emperor's speech because the Emperor is speaking Japanese and everybody in Underworld is speaking Japanese as well. The only English in Underworld which is not called English, it's the Sacred Tongue, because it's not even a complete language, it's just command prompts at most. So yeah, the default language of Underworld is Japanese. Gabe speaks Japanese, barely anyone speaks English, and nobody speaks proper English, it's just command syntax, etc. That's the answer to your question. Oh, we're going decently fast this week. On to the opinion questions. In a hypothetical battle between Shasta and Bercouli using their release recollections without murderous intent, both can simply erase the enemy's Fluctlight, as we saw in spoilers, so I'm not gonna read that part, let's just answer the question. Yes, technically they can simply erase the enemy's Fluctlights. We have seen this back in episode 4 as well. That's what Shasta did to the 2 goblin generals and Fuza, the Assassin's Guild leader, but it didn't work on Gabriel for reasons I have explained in my War of Underworld Explained episode 4 video, because the anime did not say anything at all about that scene. But yeah, they can theoretically erase the enemy's Fluctlight. But if you ask me, Bercouli would be able to stand against Shasta in a case of incarnation. Bercouli is really wise, he is really knowledgeable when it comes to these kinds of stuff. So if it wasn't his choice to actively be defeated, I don't see Bercouli being defeated by Shasta. Next opinion question. Thanks for answering my question last week, you're very much welcome. What's your favorite light novel out of the main series and your favorite out of the progressives? Why are they your favorites? From the main series, well, I am gonna say Alicization Beginning, but that has a huge nostalgia bias, mainly because, you know, it's the beginning of Alicization, it's the first Alicization book that I read. So if I am to disregard the nostalgia bias, I have to either go with Running, because the Zakaria episode, it's just really good in my opinion, or Alicization Rising, which should be volume 12. Yes, I have the books right next to me, just double check so I don't completely faceplant into the video. Otherwise, as a whole book, it's gonna be Alicization Rising volume 12, mainly because of all the details that's included in the fights. The fights are not as simple as they look in the anime. You know, there's a lot of tactical stuff going on, there's a lot of strategical stuff going on. They constantly have to keep in mind that for their enhanced armaments they need to chant stuff, so they're constantly trying to buy time here and there. There's a lot more tactical stuff going on in Alicization Rising, and there's a whole bunch of fights in Alicization Rising. So yeah, that's gonna be my favorite if I am to disregard my nostalgia bias, and if I am to disregard just because Zakaria is my favorite chapter. A lot of progressives. Now, I have not read all the available progressives. I was in the middle of Progressive Volume 3 during summer. The problem is university just kicked in so hard that I haven't made a single progress since the university started. So I will not be answering that question at the moment. Please do ask me again once I announce that I have completed all the progressives. Second question, what is something you wanted to see happen in SAO that didn't happen? That would be having more Klein scenes, which kinda happened back in OS and it was absolutely amazing. Or something you want to see happen that hasn't yet, that isn't known to happen. More Klein screen time, please. But that's it for the opinion questions. Again, I'm keeping it shorter than last week so we can actually finish in a reliable time. So next question will be into the spoiler territory. If you have made it this far, consider this your spoiler warning. So if you don't want to be spoiled, you have to leave so you don't get spoiled. Saying so many spoilers will hopefully make sure you guys who don't want to be spoiled have left already. And I feel like I have rambled enough, so let's start with these spoiler questions. What will happen to Alice, Selka, basically every other quote-unquote main character after Alicization Arc? Will we see them again like Yui in, let's say, Alo, or are they gone for good? Now this is a major spoiler, so into the Unital Ring. There are two different answers to this, because you said after the Alicization Arc, which after the Alicization Arc comes the Moon Cradle Arc, well, sub-arc. It's not a full arc, it's two volumes, volume 19 and volume 20, which volume 19 has been announced by Yen Press very recently, so you can get a pre-order on that, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be delayed like every other SAO line novel book. Anyways, I'm going on a tangent. Moon Cradle will have a lot of your favorite characters, well, favorite is debatable, but a lot of characters from Alicization reappearing, so you can look forward to that. However, Moon Cradle takes place somewhere within the Alicization Arc. So chronologically, if you look at the line novels, it is after the Alicization Arc in terms of volume numbers, but within universe it's happening inside Alicization, so maybe that's not a full answer to your question. For a full answer to your question, however, all characters but one will completely disappear. It's gonna be quite the heavy ending for Kirito and Asuna and everybody else. Well, mostly Kirito and Asuna. But yeah, one person survives, and that is all I'm gonna say despite being in the spoiler section, because I am really not keen on answering so far away spoilers. It's similar to the puddle you guys keep mentioning that is in the War of Underworld opening. When Alice is walking, there is certain reflections on the puddle. I really don't want to talk about that far away spoilers, just wait a bit, we'll get there. You don't need like 5 years into the future foresight, right? Next question. Last episode was awesome. I wanted to ask you a question for your next question video. Does Poe recognize Kirito from SAO down the line? He does, and it's one of the better scenes of War of Underworld. I have made this very clear, War of Underworld is not among my favorite stories in Sword Art Online, but Poe pretty much has more than half the best scenes in War of Underworld. He does recognize Kirito, he does recognize certain other characters as well. Well, we're in the spoiler section. He is gonna recognize Asuna as well, which... the arrival moment of Asuna, in fact. So that's gonna be a really fun moment, you know, it's like... I don't want to say anything yet, I'll just talk about it in my explained video once that happens, but there's so much to say about that. But yes, Poe does remember them, and we'll have narrative threads on that. Next question, will we ever see the release recollection of Night Sky Sword and Osmanthus Blade? Yes, and yes. I have answered the Night Sky Sword aspect of it more detailed in one of the earlier Q&A videos. I am not sure which one, so if you're interested in the details, you're gonna have to look in the past first half Q&A videos, so to say, around I think I started with episode 17 and did it until episode 24, so check back on that if you want more detail. You can find the questions in the pinned comment just like here, so you can easily recognize it if it ever exists in that video. You just keep going forward. But yeah, that is the answer. Why am I talking so long? Last but not least, well, final question, it's actually the last. Do you think that the existence of ordinal scale will lessen the impact of certain scenes that are coming up, like everyone entering the battle when all hope seems lost, or Asuna's mother's Rosario? I got two different answers for those two scenarios you mentioned, Scrambled. The first one, like everyone entering the battle when all hope seems lost, yes, I feel like that is gonna take away some of the impact of the scene, so to say, because it's a rehash of what happens in ordinal scale. Not a rehash because Alicization actually did it first, but in terms of anime-only audience, well, ordinal scale did it first. So that kinda, it's gonna make the scene a little bit more cheesier in my opinion, because it has happened before, it's rinse and repeat the exact same thing. As for the second one, despite being more or less the exact same situation as the one before, so Alicization anime will be looking like rehashing what already happened in ordinal scale, I don't think it's gonna impact the emotional weight of that scene at all, because if you look at ordinal scale, Asuna uses Mother Rosario in a very impromptu moment, you know, without thinking, without any backstory, without any emotional thing. It's just something that instantly happens at that moment because the animation requires it. In War of Underworld, I expect them to actually use the past of that skill to build up some sort of an emotional impact in addition to what was present in ordinal scale. So I feel like Mother's Rosario will be a different case in comparison to everybody just joining in. But yeah, that's pretty much all the questions. Hopefully I can trim this video below 20 minutes, which sounds very reasonable looking at my recording length. But if you have enjoyed the video, enjoyed the answers, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more. You know, the book links are in the description, Book Depository and Amazon, so you can get the books for yourself. I strongly recommend Book Depository because Amazon is surprisingly late every single time. But yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you hopefully tomorrow with my Fate Grand Opinions video for, what was that, episode 5 of Fate Grand Order, should be, yeah. And the day after, of course, we will have our new episode and a new Explained will come. Until then, stay cool.